Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the episode of Inside Lines. We have a jam-packed episode. Lots of news to talk about. Daytona 500 news, Xfinity news, Busch Clash, the Coliseum news. Let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Let's first start off with the SRX. We know moving over to Thursday nights on ESPN, and with that change allows for a lot more of a breathing room to have some big names come to the series. And three top NASCAR drivers are going to be making their debuts in the SRX. Now, Kevin Harvick announced earlier this week that he will participate in two SRX races this season, Berlin and Stafford Speedway. But now, two more drivers, a former NASCAR driver and a Cup Series champion, will be making their debuts as well. Kyle Busch, moving over to RCR in 2023, will make his debut in the SRX this season. We'll go back-to-back in two races in the SRX during the middle portion of the season. He will compete at the Motor Mile Speedway in Virginia in July, and then the following week, we'll race with Kevin Harvick in Berlin Speedway. And also, Clint Bowyer, current NASCAR on Fox commentator, former Cup Series winner, will also, like I said, compete in the SRX, driving in three races: Stafford with Kevin Harvick, Motor Mile with Kyle Busch, and then compete at Lucas Oil Raceway. Not only that, but also Elliot Castroneves confirmed that he will return to the SRX for a third season. Although the reports about him running the Daytona 500, remember that deal that he worked out? If he were to win an SRX race that is still in development, more than likely rumors are saying that he will pivot over to the money team, with Project 91 and Trackhouse announcing that they will not be fielding a car for the Daytona 500 and only focusing on road courses. So with that in mind, overall, absolutely love this. I love to see big time NASCAR drivers come out and support the SRX, like we saw with Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney. Now you have some real big name drivers, even though, also Clint Bowyer, no offense, but having some real big name drivers come to the SRX to help support the series is gonna give it a bit of a boost on the platform, especially Kyle Busch. I mean, Kyle Busch is a very popular driver, whether you like him or not. Everyone wants to talk about him. So having drivers like those three come to the SRX, help support the series, that was going to give a bit of a boost to ESPN. And I'm already excited for the SRX, and now have Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, those guys in the bunch. It's going to be awesome to see what happens. Now for a bit of a cool story regarding the Busch Clash at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. It'll take place on February 5th, Sunday night. Now, the first time we went to the Clash, the driver that won, Joe Logano, got a trophy, nice looking trophy, whatever, we move on. But this year's Clash at the Coliseum will be something different. For the first time in a long time, NASCAR will have a podium sort of set and give the drivers medals. Obviously, the top three: first is gold, second silver, third bronze. Now, I think this is a really cool thing that they're doing. Obviously, when you're at the Coliseum, what is it known for? Being part of the Olympics. It makes sense to give out medals, especially as an exhibition race, so who cares? And this is not also the first time we have seen NASCAR give out medals. Back in 1996, when Atlanta hosted the Summer Olympics, and NASCAR race at Atlanta, they did the same thing. They gave out medals to the top three drivers. Jeff Gordon won, Terry Labonte second, and his brother Bobby Labonte third. They all got their respective medals. Or I should say it's the other way around. Terry Labonte got third, Bobby Labonte second. So yeah, I personally don't have an issue with this. I really like it. Do I want to see it every race? No, not really. I don't want to see a podium for NASCAR. I think it's just fine having just one winner. But for the Coliseum, for what it is and what the venue represents, I think this is completely fine. I'm all for it. I like this change. And now for some news on Kaulig Racing, on two drivers. Landon Cassill last year drove the number 10 Camaro car for Kaulig Racing, and what was kind of a underperforming season for him in that 10 team. Now, he did have a very sketchy sponsor in Voyager. We know all these crypto companies coming in, Voyager, I think it was BitNile, I think it was another one. I mean, there's so many cryptocurrencies now in motorsports in general, not just NASCAR, but in F1 and IndyCar as well. They're like the new cigarette sponsorships. They just come out of nowhere with a buttload of money. Well, here's the thing with crypto. You can't trust it. It's sketchy as hell. And I said this. I'm pretty sure me and other people on social media have said that this is kind of sketchy. Well, later down the year, Voyager that announced that they were going bankrupt. They didn't have any money, not surprisingly. And it was going to affect Landon Cassill in some way, shape, or form, since not only did he bring Voyager as his sponsor, I'm pretty sure he got paid by Voyager in crypto. So interesting form of payment there, but basically, we knew that something like this, having a crypto sponsor as your main sponsor, your only sponsor, wasn't going to end very well, and it didn't. After Voyager announced bankruptcy, Kaulig Racing announced today that Landon Cassill will not be driving full-time in the number 10 car. Now, it doesn't say he will be out of the ride completely, but he won't be racing full-time. More than likely that the 10 car for Kaulig Racing will be an all-star car like what Joe Gibbs has, where they're going to have numerous cup drivers like maybe Austin Dillon, maybe JettMDK if he wants to run a few races, or Justin Haley, drivers like that. But it is sad to see. You don't like to see any driver lose their top ride, especially a ride as good as Kaulig. But at the same time, it'd be wrong of me to say that I didn't see this coming, because again, we know this for crypto sponsors. I mean, you can't trust them. I mean, you cannot trust them. I mean, they're good for a year, maybe two, and then they're done for. So I can't say I'm not surprised with this one, but on the other side, it is still sad to see. It was interesting the year seeing how Cassill would do competing in a top car for the first time in a long time, only notching up 5 top 5s and 12 top 10s, didn't make the playoffs. Like I said, it was quite an underperforming season. It was beginning very quickly that without Voyager, Cassill wouldn't be in the ride. So as soon as the checks stopped coming in, kick to the curb. Now we go from the sad news to the good news with Kaulig Racing. Chandler Smith, their newest driver that was brought up from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from Kyle Busch Motorsports, will be driving the number 16 Camaro car, replacing JettMDK, who is advancing up to the Cup Series. Well, Chandler Smith will be competing in, I believe, 4 or 5 Cup Series races in a part-time third entry with Kaulig in the number 13 car. Now, Kaulig teased this way back. They teased something about the 13 car. No one knew what it was. No one knew if it was going to be a new Xfinity team or a new Cup team. No one knew what it was exactly, but it's now been confirmed that that part-time ride, the number 13 car, will be driven by Chandler Smith. And like I said, a few races, including the Daytona 500, which means we officially now have a full field. And that means that somebody, at least one person, will be going home on Thursday for the dual races. We currently have 41 entries in the Daytona 500, and we're still a month away. There are still a lot of other drivers. The Money Team racing that number 50 car. Who knows? Maybe with Cash Neves. Who knows what's going on around there? Also consider MBM Motorsports with the 55 car they ran this year. Maybe something may come about with that team. This is going to be very fun duels because of the names of the open drivers. This year we had, I think, 2 or 3 drivers, but no offense, they were not big time drivers like Kaz Gralla, Timmy Hill, those types of names. Look at the Daytona 500 entries this year. Zane Smith, Truck Series champion. Chandler Smith, a rising star coming to the Xfinity Series. Austin Hill has won in the Truck Series before. Then you got Travis Pastrana, Moto, X Games legend. Jimmy Johnson, 7-time Cup champion. I mean, these are big-time names in NASCAR that are coming to race in the Daytona 500. So Thursday's dual races are going to be one hell of a show to watch. And who knows? This is just the beginning, I think. We're still, like I said, a month away from the 500. There could be many more entries lined up. Who knows? If the Money Team racing works, we can have Cash Neves in there. Then you have a 4-time Indy 500 champion also in the field, racing with the 7-time champion, racing with the X Games legend. I mean, oh man, this is getting really interesting to talk about. But Thursday's dual races, I think, are going to be the most exciting dual races in probably a decade, because of the big name drivers that are trying to fight their way in the Daytona 500. But that's it for this episode. What are your thoughts on any of the stories that I talked about? Landon Cassill losing his ride, NASCAR giving awards for the Clash at the Coliseum, Harvick, Busch, and Bowyer coming to join the SRX, and the Daytona 500 entry list now up to 41 drivers, which means at least one driver will go home after Thursday's dual races. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thanks for watching.